If you're looking for a name that signifies Broadway, film, even TV, actually, there is none better than Julian Schlossberg. He is a producer. He brings things to life that people don't even think about. And now he's doing more amazing things. Julian, hello. How are you?
Hi, how are you and how are things going in your world?
Busy.
Oh, that's good. Busy is much better than not being busy. I found myself not being busy during the pandemic, and therefore I wrote a book.
And tell us about your book.
Well, it's called Try Not to Hold It Against Me. This is life. And it's kind of a memoir. I started out in the Bronx and fell in love with show business and listened to the radio at night. And then years later, ended up having my own radio show in New York and around the country. And then I got involved with the advent of television. We write about that. And because it was all starting, it was so new and so wonderful to see in your own home. We couldn't believe that we could do that. So I write about that, and then I write about the plays, the movies, and the and the television that I've produced, which is over 60 productions. So I'm still shaking in my boots when I hear 60. By golly.
I know I met you when I was in my 20s. Scary. um, Julian, for our audience, tell them the shows that you've done and the things that you've invented because they're numerous.
I hate to. I, I think people could be.
Brag.
They might be turning off by it, but they might turn off by that time.
I don't think so.
Well, let's talk. Well, let's start with theater. Um,
Okay.
I'm very happy that I produced all of the Lane Mays plays, and that includes Death Defying Acts and After the Night in the Music and Relatively Speaking. And I produced all of Woody's plays pretty much on Broadway with he was also involved with Death Defying Acts and Relatively Speaking. I did the musical Bullets Over Broadway, and I've worked with oh golly, the wonderful Eileen Atkins. I did Vita and Virginia, and I also did The Unexpected Man with her, and I brought Alan Arkin and Elaine back as performers in Power plays. Oh, enough about me. What do you think of my other plays?
What?
You know, the old joke, enough about me. What do you think of my plays? You know, it's
Oh, I love your plays. Relatively Speaking is one of my favorite plays. I love that play.
thank you. And in the movies, I'm very proud to have co-produced and co-directed a movie for Warner Brothers called No Nukes. It was a concert film, and it's probably to this day the only film that Bruce Springsteen was ever in. We do three great numbers with Springsteen, Jackson Browne, Bonnie Raitt, the Doobie Brothers, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. It's a potpourri of great artists, James Taylor, Carly Simon. It's just terrific. I love doing it. My co-producer, co-director, Danny Goldberg, we did it for 1 year for no money, which shows you how crazy we both were. And yeah, that was a film I loved. I did a movie with a bunch of friends of mine called In the Spirit with
Mm.
Elaine May, Marlo Thomas, Peter Falk, Melanie Griffith, Olympia Dukakis. It's an independent movie. And thank goodness we sold that to Warner Brothers too. So yeah, I've done those movies. And I did a feature film based on a television show called 10 from Your Show of Shows, which
Oh, wow.
which was Sid Caesar and Emma Jean Coker, Carl Reiner and Howie Morris. And then I went to Steve Allen, the wonderful Steve Allen, who started the Tonight Show. People sometimes forget he was the first one to do the Tonight Show. And I took did two 1 hour specials with Steve called All the Best Steve Allen and the Golden Age of Comedy Steve Allen. So yeah, I've dabbled in all fields. It's a funny thing. So many of my friends are doctors and lawyers and dentists, and they have a degree, but I knew I wasn't going to get a degree except a Bachelor of Arts. So I thought maybe I should learn a little more about every aspect of the business, not just the fact that I started at the ABC network or I was at Paramount Pictures or at Walter Reed Theaters. I mean, I wanted to learn distribution, exhibition, production. I ended up having a record company. This is my resume. What am I doing? I
Wait, what record company did you have?
was called Gold Castle Records. I was with my partner, Danny Goldberg from No Nukes. And we had Peter, Paul, and Mary, Joan Baez, Judy Collins, had a lot of lovely people. And we had a real exciting beginning. Our very first album with Peter, Paul, and Mary went gold. After that, we didn't go gold, but it was nice to begin. Nice beginning.
Now, from what I understand, you're also doing a podcast?
Yeah, I'm actually doing two podcasts. The
Really?
Yeah, because I'm one is called Tales from Hollywood Land, and that's with two other producers, and we talk about producing and how great people like we have a show dedicated to how to become a producer, another show about Billy Wilder, another show about Hitchcock. It depends on the topic. And
Mm.
I'm starting on January 31st, I start my own podcast called Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk. And that's based on the 9 years I was on radio in New York and around the country. I was on WMCA for 7 years.
I
And then
did not even know you were in radio.
no, yeah. And then 2 years on WOR. So this show starts January 31st, and I begin with Academy Award winner F. Murray Abraham. And
Ah,
then we then go to, let me see, Richard Benjamin, Marlo Thomas, Twiggy, Robert Klein, Juliet Taylor, the greatest casting director I've ever known, over 100 movies she's done. So it's an incredible group of people, Sandy Duncan. So I'm all lined up with old friends, people I've worked with, Carol Kane, and we do 1 hour about their life, their career, and I'm glad to be back doing it.
where can we catch both these podcasts?
Oh, thank you. Amazon, Audible, Spotify, in your ear, whatever it is. There's so many of these things, but we're all over the place. I know we're on Apple. And the book, I recorded the book. I decided to do an
Oh.
audio of the book. And once again, it's on Audible and Amazon, etc. Try not to hold it against me. It's really, it's kind of busy right now.
Are you producing it all?
They're kind of like, at JFK, they're hovering. They
Mm.
haven't landed yet. I'm involved with F. Murray on a play about Norman Mailer that I'm very excited
I
about.
remember this. Didn't John Buffalo work on this
That's
with you
right.
guys?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
did. We talked about this the last time we talked.
Yes, and sadly, we're still talking about it, not doing it, but it's going to happen. And Lila Robbins is a co-star, and it's a lovely play.
Yeah, I
So
remember all this.
yeah, also we Susan Stroman and John Law, the writer,
Mhm.
we're doing an evening about a learner in low, and that's
Oh,
going.
when?
Yeah, well, again, the when is the high part. You see, it's very hard for me to produce if I'm not there. And
Mm.
I'm still a little concerned about being there. I've been very fortunate that I've not gotten COVID, but so many of my friends have. And when you're in a closed environment for rehearsals, it's very,
Right.
very, even with a mask, it's dangerous. So I've been kind of holding back with the hope that sometime maybe this spring or summer, I'll jump in because it's shocking to say, I have 14 projects on hold. And
Holy hell.
I've offered, I was very, very, I thought it was very important that I offered the writers and directors the property back because I wasn't going to do it for a while, but for some crazy reason, they're sticking with me. So I hope it,
Because you're honest.
well, I hope so. That's what, my company, Castle Hill Productions, had gray walls. And I said, I'm not anywhere near black the way so many producers are, but I'm not as white as a good priest or rabbi. So I think I'll be great. I think I'll be great. So thank you for that compliment. I hope that it's true.
No,
The
I think it is.
the most
I've known you how long, and
yes,
I've
true.
never known you to not be that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And
And
if I wasn't a happily married man,
aw. No,
I,
but you're open, you're kind, you care about who sees your shows, you care about what you put out. This to me is a
you,
good thing.
well, thank you. I do care about what I put out. It's almost like falling in love. I mean, you're going to be with a project sometimes years, but clearly at least 6 months to a year. And you better make sure you like that person or love that person. In this case, love that project. You know, I think of all the people I've interviewed, and I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds, from Betty Davis to Jack Nicholson to John Huston to Kazan. I mean, this Friday, I don't know when you're broadcasting, it may be too late, but
I'll be posting this up tonight.
wow, great. Timing is perfect.
Good.
Tomorrow on TCM, Turner Classic Movies at
Which
8.
will be when you see this, it'll be that day.
Oh, that's
I
perfect.
put it up at midnight, so it'll be up. So
Hey,
tonight
oh,
you can
that's,
see.
I will. Of course, I haven't been up to midnight in about 12 years, but okay. Um, Anyhow, 8 p.m., Turner Classic Movies, and a tribute to Elaine May, an evening with Elaine May,
Oh,
and I interview her. I'm the guest interviewer on TCM, interviewing my darling friend, Elaine May, about Nichols and May,
oh
uh,
wow.
and then New Leaf. They show a New Leaf, then Mikey and Nikki, and then Ishtar. So they show all the films, and we do the wraparounds before and after. So there are 8 wraparounds, and Elaine, who you probably know,
Yes.
is like the Greta Garbo of our time. She
Oh.
doesn't do any interviews. She just doesn't do them. And so the fact that I was able to grovel and nag her, I finally got her. So I'm
Julian groveling.
well, I can do it. You know, I have knee pads.
What are you most proud of in your career?
Well, I don't know if it's most, because that's always hard for me when people say, "What were the movies you take on the island?" I mean, I don't know these things, but I do know a few things that I am proud of. One, there was a movie that Orson Welles made called Othello, and it
Mm.
languished for 40 years. He had made it in the late 40s, early 50s, and he couldn't get a distributor. And United Artists finally said, "Well, we'll pick it up. We'll put it in the Paris theater." They put it in. It did not do well, and he just got despondent and put it away. Now, he's one of the great filmmakers of the world. And the fact that I was able to take the movie and, with a lot of top talent, refurbish it because it was out of sync. The music
Oh,
was very tinny, of course, because of the late 40s, early 50s. And we brought it back and we won. We were at the, we were, we, well, hit it. Oh my God. I've never been at a loss for words. I guess I'm so excited about this movie. Anyhow, we went to Cannes 40 years after it had won the Grand Prix, and we played at the Palais. And that was one of the proudest moments of my life to be there. And it was just terrific. And I love that movie. I think it's a masterpiece. And more importantly, so do the critics. And it's back and it's seen, and I'm quite proud of it. So that would be one thing, I guess, you know.
what haven't you done that you'd like to do?
And she stumped me on the first question. I
Wasn't
feel
trying.
I feel so blessed as a person. I feel I've been very fortunate. I think I've done what I wanted to do. I just want to keep doing it. That's my plan. You know, I want to hit triple figures. I want to get up there and keep working. I mean, I've finished my second book, which will be out sometime in the spring and fall. It's called My First Book, Part Two.
So creative with the titles.
Well, titles, I can do titles. I actually was the person who did Death Defying Acts, and I did Power Plays. Those are the titles I gave. But funny, on Relatively Speaking, I had a meeting with Woody Allen, Elaine May, and Ethan Cohn, the playwrights, to go over the title. They wanted to call it Three. I said three's not going to do it for the public. I said, I got the title. It's all relative. I said, because everything in all three plays were about relatives. I
Right.
thought it was a brilliant title. Ethan Cohn said, I like Relatively Speaking better. And so did Woody and Elaine, and I was defeated 3-1.
Yeah, but I hate to say it, 3 might have been a good title. Look at 6.
That's true. That's true. But I think the 6 was a little different than this.
Just a tad.
Just a tad, yeah. It's true. I want to, if I could take a few seconds of, maybe a couple of minutes,
Yeah,
could I read you a little part of my book that's now out on audio?
I love to be read.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So in this book, Try Not to Hold It Against Me, I've written about co-producing and co-directing No Nukes, as I mentioned earlier. So this will be a little bit. So this is right after the chapter on No Nukes. I wanted to produce a film based on a novel by Dashiell Hammett, Red Harvest. The Hammett estate was controlled by Lillian Hellman. I had
Mm.
never met her, but since we had mutual friends, they arranged for me to visit her in a hotel suite in Los Angeles. I arrived on time and I was shown in by a lovely female assistant. The assistant said she was so excited to meet me as she was a big fan of No Nukes. She was in the middle of describing one of the highlights of the film when we heard a voice screaming from another room, "He's here to see me!" I was quickly ushered in to see Miss Hellman. We talked for a long time. Sadly, the property I wanted was already under contract, but I enjoyed her company. She smoked continuously, coughed a great deal, and was quite funny. That was my only encounter with Lillian Hellman, but it wasn't the end of her impact on me. 3 years later, she died, and then, strange it may seem, she came into my life almost on a full-time basis, as you will hear. And
Oh,
that's my trailer for
I
why.
love the trailer. So
What?
tell us
Thank you.
again, tell us the name of the book
Try Not to Hold It Against Me.
and when are
Producer's
your
Life.
and what are the name of your podcasts?
It's either on Audible or Amazon or
No, but there's 2 of them. Then give them the name so they can find them.
there's 2 of them. What does that mean? Help
There.
me.
2. You have the one where you're doing with the 3 producers.
Oh, right.
Name.
There's 3 of them, I guess. But let's start
Oh,
out with,
there's 3? Wait, what's
well,
the
let's
3rd?
see. There's the book, Try Not to Hold It Against Me. Then
Mhm.
there's the podcast, Tales from Hollywoodland. And then there's my podcast alone called Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk. So those are the 3 that
No,
are.
there's a 4th. Tonight you can catch.
Oh, yes. And tonight, wow, you've become my cue cards. This is
Oh.
fantastic. I have a human teleprompter. I'm very grateful. Tonight on TCM, yes, tonight at TCM at 8 p.m. for the whole evening is a tribute to Elaine May, where I interview her about her films and her career. Yeah.
Julian, thank you for being with us. I'm so glad that I know you. You make me
Well,
laugh.
well,
Uh,
thank you. And I'm so glad I know you, but I didn't expect it would turn out that we'd be doing these kind of broadcasts. So this is great for me.
Surprise. Who would have ever guessed I would have gone from girl singer to this?
Go no. Go
Right,
no.
exactly. I love
Okay.
you. Have a
Thank
great day.
you too, and thank you both.